In previous lecture, we have seen the Schrodinger wave equation, and we have also seen the solution of Schrodinger wave equation. Now, our aim is to discuss the important applications of Schrodinger wave equation. Actually, in this regard, first of all, we will see the problems related to bond state potential. And in fact, in case of bond state potential, we will see first of all the one-dimensional problem, and after that we will see the two-dimensional and three-dimensional problem. So I am taking here the first application of Schrodinger equation, which is actually most important for your examination purpose of different academic examinations and also competitive examinations. The first problem we are considering the infinite square well potential problem. In fact, in this case, you will see that there is two types of square well potential. The first one is unsymmetric well and another will be symmetric well. So in this lecture, I am going to discuss the problem of unsymmetric square well potential. In fact, in this problem, we consider that a particle of mass m is confined in a square well potential which is infinitely deep, and the potential is a function of only space coordinate x. So it is a one-dimensional problem. In fact, this problem is also known as particle in one-dimensional box. Popularly, it is known as particle in one-dimensional box. So as I have told you that we consider a particle of mass m which is confined into a square well potential of infinitely deep, and this is an unsymmetric potential well. When you say unsymmetric potential well, what does it mean? You can see this figure that how the potential function actually varies with the space coordinate x. You can see at x equal to 0 and before x equal to 0, that is for all values of x less than 0, this potential function is infinity, and it is also infinity when x is greater than a. But within the region x equal to 0 and x equal to a, the potential function is 0, as you can see in this figure. So from minus infinity to x equal to 0, the potential remains constant at infinite value, and at x equal to 0, it abruptly rises to infinity. Although it is not a very real situation, the abrupt rise of potential is not a physical reality, but for mathematical simplicity, we consider such a potential. And after that, between x equal to 0 to x equal to a, the potential remains at a constant value, that is 0. And after that, that is for the region x greater than a, potential again becomes infinity and it remains infinite up to x equal to plus infinity. So you can say how this potential function varies. This potential distribution in case of this unsymmetric potential well, you can see how it varies with x. I have defined it here. V of x is equal to infinite for x less than 0, which I have shown in this figure by region 1. So in this region 1, which is x less than 0, potential is infinite. And in the second region, where x varies between 0 and a, this potential function is 0. And in the third region, where x is greater than a, potential function is again infinity. Now you can see that as the particle is confined in this region, that is in this region 0 less or equal to x less or equal to a, so in accordance with classical mechanics, the energy of the particle will have any value. In other words, you can say that energy of the particle will be continuous, or in other words, you can also say that the energy spectrum in accordance with classical physics of the particle will be continuous. But what the experiment tells? In fact, it is found from experiment that the energy of the particle is not continuous, but it has some discrete values, or in other words you can say that the energy of the particle is in fact quantized. So how this experimental result can be explained? In fact, classical mechanics completely fails in explaining this discrete energy eigenvalue, because I have told you already that in accordance with classical mechanics, energy spectrum should be continuous. But the physical reality is what? The physical reality is that the energy spectrum is not continuous but discontinuous. Actually, quantum mechanics is able to explain this very fact. Applying the Schrodinger wave equation, you can easily prove or you can easily explain that the energy spectrum in this case will be discrete, not continuous. So let us see how we can solve this problem quantum mechanically applying the Schrodinger equation. As you can see in this problem that this potential function is not a function of time. So in fact we should apply the Schrodinger time independent equation to solve this problem. Again, since the potential function is a function of only one space coordinate x, so we will need the one-dimensional Schrodinger's time independent equation. So what is one-dimensional time independent Schrodinger equation? You know it very well because you have already studied in previous lecture. You know this equation is written in this manner: d2 psi dx square plus 2m over h bar square times e minus v of x psi equal to 0. Here psi is the wave function or eigenfunction, you know, and E is the total energy of our particle. Now as you can see in this figure that in the first region, which ranges from minus infinity to 0, that is x from minus infinity to 0, in this region actually the potential function is infinite, and also in the third region where x varies from a to plus infinity, this potential function is infinite. What does it mean? When you say that potential function is infinite, it means whenever the particle will reach or will incident on these boundaries, that is x equal to 0 and x equal to a, the particle will experience infinite repulsion. So the probability of finding of the particle in the first region and in the third region after passing through these boundaries from the middle region will be in fact 0. So there is no chance of finding of particle in the first region and in the second region. And you know, if the probability or probability density in first and third region of finding of particle is 0, then according to Born's approximation, the Born's physical interpretation of psi, that this wave function psi must be 0 in these two regions. So I have mentioned here that in first region psi is 0 and also in third region psi is 0. So psi will have only a non-zero value in this region. You can say that is the middle region which lies between x equal to 0 to a. So because in this region v of x is equal to 0. As the potential or potential energy of the particle in this region is 0, what does it mean? It means the particle will move freely in this region, because 0 potential implies that there is no force acting on the particle in this region. So now let us write the Schrodinger equation in this region, that is 0 less or equal to x less or equal to a. As you have seen, the Schrodinger equation is this much, but the region which we are just now considering, in that region v of x is 0, so our equation will be d2 psi dx square plus 2me over h bar square psi equal to 0. Now let us substitute k square instead of 2me over h bar square. So this equation becomes d2 psi by dx square plus k square psi equal to 0. As I have told you that this k is equal to in fact this plus square root of 2me by h bar square. Now you can see that this equation is nothing. This is simply the equation of SHM. or it represents an oscillatory motion. So definitely the motion of the particle inside the box will be oscillatory, and so this differential equation, which is actually a second order differential equation with constant coefficient, will have oscillatory solution. When you say it has oscillatory solution, it means the wave function or the eigenfunction psi of x will be oscillatory. So you can say it is obvious. It is obvious that psi of x will be oscillatory. And if it is oscillatory, what will be our solution? You can write the solution in the form of e raised to the power plus minus ikx, or as a combination of sine and cosine function. For simplicity, I am considering here the solution in the form of combination of sine function and cosine function. So let us consider the solution of equation 1 is given as. How you can write the solution? You know it very well. This solution can be written as psi of x equal to a sine kx plus b cos kx, and say this is equation 3. You know this a and b are what? These are actually the integration constants. Actually, as the equation is a second order differential equation, so to get this real actual solution, we must integrate this equation 2 times. And after integrating the equation 2 times, we will have 2 integration constant. So actually these a and b are nothing. These are the arbitrary constants, or you can say the integration constants. Here a and b are integration constants. Integration constants. And you know very well that these integration constants or arbitrary constants can be found or can be evaluated by applying the appropriate boundary conditions. So what are the appropriate boundary conditions in this case to evaluate the values of a and b? Let us see here. So what are the boundary conditions or continuity condition, you may say? Boundary conditions to evaluate a and b. As you know, the first characteristic of a valid wave function is what? That a valid wave function psi of x must be continuous everywhere for all values of x. So you can see the first boundary. The first boundary of our potential box is x equal to 0, as you can see here. And as you can see, at this boundary, just before x equal to 0, psi is 0. So the continuity condition says that at x equal to 0, this psi will be equal to 0. So let us write this boundary condition. Psi of x is equal to 0 at x equal to 0. Again, the second boundary condition will be what? You can see this psi of x will be again 0 at another boundary, which is x equal to a. So applying these two boundary conditions on this equation 3, we can evaluate the values of the arbitrary constants. So now let us first of all apply the first boundary condition, that is psi of x equal to 0 at x equal to 0 on this equation 3. So applying condition 1 on 3. we get. When you will apply this? For applying this, we will substitute 0 at the places of x in RHS, and you know the boundary condition says that when x is 0, then psi will be 0. So what will be our equation 3 now? This will be 0 equal to a sine 0 plus b cos 0, and this implies 0 equal to, as you know, sine 0 is 0, so this first term is 0 plus, and cos 0 is 1, so this is b. It means the constant b is equal to 0. So you can see that applying the first boundary condition, we have evaluated the value of b. So now the solution of Schrodinger equation, which is defined in this equation 3, will become what? We will take the value of b equal to 0. So our solution will be psi of x equal to a sine kx. So equation 3 will now become psi of x is equal to what? This is equal to a sine kx. A sine kx. Say this is equation 4. Now actually we will apply the second boundary condition which I have mentioned here on this equation 4, and this second boundary condition is what? You can see here. This is psi of x is 0 at x equal to a. So now let us apply it. So applying condition 2 on 4, we get what we will get. You can see when you will take x equal to a, then psi of x will be 0. So this will be 0 equal to a sine ka. And as you know that this a cannot be 0. Why? How you can say that a cannot be 0? See here, if a will be 0, then for all values of x, this psi of x will become 0. It means the particle is nowhere. Even inside the well, the particle is not present, but it is unphysical because we have considered that our particle is confined inside the box. So when you cannot take a equal to 0 because this gives an unphysical result. So we can say that a is not 0, and if a is not 0, then definitely you can say that this sine ka must be equal to 0. And if sine ka is 0, you know what will be the general value of this ka. You know this will be n pi. This will be n pi. And again here mathematics says that n will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. But here n cannot be 0. N will have only values 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Why n cannot be 0? You can say if we will take n equal to 0, then ka will be actually equal to 0, and in that condition k will be 0, and when k will be 0, again for all values of x, this psi of x will be 0. So that will be an unphysical result. So we can say that although mathematically n equal to 0 is possible, but this physical problem does not allow n equal to 0 because it will resulted in a situation which will lead that particle is nowhere, but that is not correct. So we cannot take n equal to 0, but we will take n equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. This is just a quantum number. So from here we can actually obtain the value of k. This will be simply n pi over a. N pi over a. So you have obtained the value of k here. Now substituting this value of k in this equation 4, we can find the eigenfunction of the particle confined in this one-dimensional box. So you can say, so the eigenfunction of the particle confined in one-dimensional box is given as. How we will define the eigenfunction? You can see here easily. You can say this psi of x is equal to 0. When psi of x is equal to 0, you know this is 0 when x is less or equal to 0, and also when x is greater or equal to a. That is, in first and third region, this eigenfunction psi of x is equal to 0. And this eigenfunction, as you can see here, is a sine kx, but k is equal to this much as you have calculated here. So you can write this psi of x will be equal to a sine n pi x over a. But in which region? In fact, this will be in the region 0 less or equal to x, and this is less or equal to a. So this is the eigenfunctions in case of particle confined in one-dimensional box. Say this is equation 6. But as you know, this a is what? Actually, this a is a normalization factor. So applying the normalization condition, you can easily find what will be the actual value of this normalization constant a. As you know, the particle is confined in this one-dimensional box. So the probability of finding of this particle inside the box will be not a probability, but it will be a certainty. It means the probability of finding of this particle inside this box is 100%. And so when we will find this probability, we will write its value equal to 1. So a is the normalization factor. And we will evaluate it by applying the normalization condition. So applying the normalization condition, what we will write, this is in fact integral all space. Here all space means x equal to 0 to x equal to a. Actually in this region our particle is confined. So here all space means when x varies from 0 to a. So the limits of integration will be 0 to a. And you know mod of psi of x square dx, and this will be equal to 1. Again you know mod of psi x square. What does it mean? It means in fact psi star of x times psi of x dx, and this equal to 1. Here this psi star of x is what? This is actually the complex conjugate of psi of x. And as you can see here, this complex conjugate of psi of x will be what? This will be in fact a star sine n pi x n pi x by a times psi of x, and psi of x is a sine n pi x over a dx, and this equal to 1. Now you can easily see this integral. This is a square, or you can say mod of a square, because a star times a will be mod of a square, and this is sine square n pi x over a dx from 0 to a, and this equal to 1. Now you can easily find the value of this integral, and doing that algebra you will get that this is mod a square times a over 2, and this equal to 1, and therefore this normalization factor a is equal to 2 over a square root. So this is the normalization factor. So now you can write what will be the normalized eigenfunction inside the potential box. So the normalized eigenfunction will be what? This is psi n of x, this is for n equal to n. A, at the place of a, now we will write a square root of 2 over a, and sine n pi x over a, n pi x over a. This is the normalized eigenfunction in the region 0 less or equal to x, this is less or equal to a. This is the normalized eigenfunction. Now after getting this value of normalized eigenfunction or wave function, we will calculate actually the energy eigenvalue, and after getting the value of energy eigenvalue, you will see easily that this energy eigenvalue spectrum is not continuous, but it will be discontinuous or discrete. That is, energy eigenvalue will be quantized, as you can see here. You have already obtained here the value of k, and this k is n pi over a. And what is this k? You can see here we have actually assumed that this k is equal to this much. So now from these two equations we will be able to find the energy eigenvalue. So now energy eigenvalue. Energy eigenvalues. You can see k equal to, or you can say k square will be what? This will be n square pi square divided by a square, because k is n pi over a, so k square will be equal to n square pi square over a square. But you know this k square is what? This is 2me over h bar square. Now for convenience I write here En instead of E, because this will give the value of energy when the quantum number n is equal to n. So instead of E I am writing here En. So this is 2men over h bar square, and this equal to n square pi square over a square, and therefore you can see what will be the value of En. This En will be n square pi square h bar square over 2ma square. This is a most important result. To solve the numerical problems based on this concept, you must remember it. So I will suggest you to remember this result because it is very important for solving the numerical problem based on particle in one-dimensional box. So you must remember. And you know what is the value of n? N is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on. So from this result, now we can see what will be the energy eigenvalues for different value of n. You can see here. As you can see, the least value of n is 1, not 0, because we have already seen that n cannot be 0. So, least value of n equal to 1. So, when you will put n equal to 1, you will get actually the least value of energy or minimum value of energy. So, minimum value of energy of the particle. This will be written E1, and this E1 will be equal to what? You can see this will be pi square h bar square over 2ma square. This least value of energy is also known as 0 point energy. 0 point energy. Or in other words, you can also say this is ground state energy. Ground state energy. Because in this condition, our particle has minimum energy, so it is in its ground state. So this energy is also called ground state energy. You can see the minimum energy of this particle is not 0, or the 0 point energy is not 0 quantum mechanically, although classical physics says that minimum energy may be 0, but here we find that minimum energy is not 0. In fact, how you can say that the minimum energy or 0 point energy in this case will be not 0, I will explain it after some time. First of all, see here some of the other values. In fact, when we will take n equal to 2, 3, 4 and so on, we will get the energy of the particle in its excited state. So when we will take n equal to 2, you can see that energy E2 will be what? This will be 4 pi square h bar square over 2ma square. And you can see that this is in fact 2 square times E1. In fact, in general, you can say that the energy spectrum is discrete. When n will be 3, E3 in this way, you can say this will be 3 square times E1 and so on. So you can see that the energy spectrum is not continuous but discrete. So see here, if n is equal to 1, this is ground state energy, energy is equal to E1, and when n is equal to 2, then actually the energy is equal to what? This is E2, and this E2 is equal to 4E1. When n is equal to 3, you can see the energy is equal to what? When n is equal to 3. N equal to 3, then energy is E3 and this will be 9E1. So one thing is remarkable here, that energy spectrum is discrete, and another remarkable fact is what? If you find the difference of the energy of these two energy levels, that will be 4E1 minus E1, that will be 3E1, and when you will find the difference of energy levels of n corresponding to n equal to 3 and n equal to 2, the difference will be 9E1 minus 4E1, that is 5E1. So you can say that these discrete energy levels are not equally spaced, but as the quantum number n increases, the separation between the two successive energy levels increase. So, in short, you can say energy eigenvalues are discrete and energy levels are not continuous, not equally spaced. In fact, in this part of the lecture on particle in one-dimensional box, I am stopping my lecture at this time. In fact, in second part, we will discuss the graphical variation of the eigenfunction and the probability density with x, and also we will discuss the orthogonality of these eigenfunctions and degeneracy. Along with that, we will also discuss the time development and zero-point energy. Because if we will consider all those things in this lecture, the lecture will be very large, and a large lecture is in fact not interesting. So I will discuss the remaining part of the problem of particle in one-dimensional box, in fact, in another part of this lecture.